When culture goes wrong, it affects everything. And by the time the cracks appear, it's often too late to do anything about it without a major overhaul to your ways of working. If you catch culture issues early, however, it's much less painful and often requires small adjustments rather than wholesale change. But what are those early signals that your culture needs your attention? Well, there are 7 signs that a culture crisis might be on the horizon. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what they are. If you recognize any of them in your company, please prepare to take action before it's too late. Now, the first and most common sign of cultural issues is that despite going to great effort and expense to assemble a group of brilliant minds, you're struggling to forge them into a real high-performance unit. Politics, miscommunication, disengagement, and individual agendas get in the way of robust debate, alignment, and a common mission, and that leads to mistakes, delays, missed milestones, angry investors, and ultimately difficulty raising money and delivering on the promise of your research. Now remember that when you brought each member of your team into the organization, you thought they were the right person to help you on your march to victory, or you wouldn't have hired them otherwise. But it's only as a team that you can succeed. So if there's a lack of open debate, lots of side channel communication, and if it's proving difficult to get people to really work together effectively, then it's time to step in and tackle the problem. Or it may be that your biggest challenge comes actually before that point. So if you're finding yourself unable to hire and retain the right people, that's people who bring the niche skills that you need and who enhance your culture, then you'll be wasting huge amounts of time, money, and energy on recruiting, onboarding, and training people who don't deliver, don't fit in, and to be honest, just don't work out. And without the right people in your team, both in terms of skills and values fit, everything you try to do will be a struggle. If you have the right people, though, you're much more likely to succeed. Now, if you're finding yourself compromising on talent, letting new hires go regularly, or bringing in people who don't deliver, then fix this before you move on to anything else. It has an outsized impact on your culture. Another key indicator that rot is setting in at your company is that there's discord and interpersonal issues among the leadership team. Yes, by a certain point in their careers, people should be able to act like grown-ups and work together professionally, even if they dislike each other, but we don't live in a world of should. In the real world, even senior leaders clash and let issues fester, and that leads to disharmony throughout the camp. A lack of accountability on the part of your organization's leaders is another sure sign that a culture crash really isn't far away. Those leaders who complain about their team, pass blame onto their people, and refuse to take ownership of their results are very unlikely, if you think about it, to be inspiring those around and beneath them. So if you see that there are consistent issues in one particular area of the business and the common factor is a leader or a group of leaders, well then you have 3 options. You can coach them, you could train them, or you could replace them. No amount of talent brought in under the care of a poor leader will solve your problems. And something unique to the biotech sector is that all biotech companies go through transitions in their life cycle. Some are positive, and such as moving into the clinic and raising money, and others are more challenging, like bad data or reductions in force. But in all of these transitions, there's a high chance that your culture will encounter issues. If you find yourself desperately trying to retain the DNA of the organization, the essence of the company that's made it successful so far, but you see that the environment is shifting away from that essence in ways that you don't like, then watch out. You might end up stuck running a business that you just wouldn't have chosen to be part of. Or you might also find that as objectives shift and the stakes increase, you need to evolve the organization, but you can't. And your team is stuck in old ways of working that just don't get you where you need to go. The best way to address this is through deliberate, targeted action that focuses on both what you want to keep in the culture and what you feel needs to change. Now, this kind of change takes time though, so it's absolutely critical that you start the process as soon as you recognise the need to move the culture forward. So much of culture is wrapped up in subconscious signals that it's likely you'll just know that things aren't quite right. You'll get a sense that you aren't where you need to be as a group, and it's probably going to be difficult to put your finger on exactly what the issues are and to determine what action to take. But it's important to understand that being unsure about what to do doesn't make being passive the right choice. So you must confront that nagging feeling that you have and question whether there's a real issue or just the perception of one. If it's the former, and distinguishing between these two things can be tricky, but if it's the former, getting to the bottom of the problem and devising a plan to address it is essential. When your culture faces issues, it's very rare that things will get better on their own. So if you see any of these signs, be proactive, get help, and get to work on taking your environment where it needs to go.